I had to think about this one for a second, but I think I figured it out. No.
Puppy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for
Shoot.
must have been Happy.
But remember what the note said.
Come on.
What time did it say to meet?
6 a.m., I believe.
The time doesn't matter. The note has nothing to do with TikTok.
No! God darn it!
Puppy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for must have been Happy.
But remember what the note said. What time did it say to meet?
6 a.m., I believe.
The time doesn't matter. The note has nothing to do with TikTok.
Yes, it does.
No, it's wrong.
That's what I meant to do.
No, there absolutely is a connection.
What the hell are you talking about?
The note said to meet at 6 a.m., which is the same time Taka was murdered. We've already proven that using his wristwatch. But there's more. Look where the note says to meet. The equipment room, right?
Which is where Taka was killed. I see.
So, Taka was murdered at both the time and place, written in the note. I think that should be plenty to show that this note was definitely meant for Taka.
Well, when you put it like that. No further objections.
Then someone used that note to trick Taka. Just the same as me. The culprit really is a cold-blooded monster. Telling people they found a way out.
But if they gave the note to Taka, what was Hifumi doing with it? Stuffed down his pants, no less.
Most likely. Hifumi stole it off Taka's corpse after he died.
Huh? He stole it?
Where's your proof? Go ahead, show us.
Mm-hmm. I will.
I got it! When I searched Taka's body, I saw that his lifeless hand was gripping a small scrap of paper. If I'm right about this, the sheet of paper this piece came from it... I knew it! It fits perfectly with the note we found hidden on Hifumi.
Then Taka's scrap and Hifumi's note.
Yup, they're from the same piece of paper.
Hifumi had the note meant for Taka, while Taka's corpse still grasped a small piece of that note. There's only one way to explain it.
Taka died clutching the note. Hifumi tried to free the note from its death grip,
But rigor mortis.
leaving behind only one small scrap. Did I get all that right?
That means Hifumi knew the note was important.
Exactly. Which proves that he was an accomplice in the murder.
Whoa. Yeah. After seeing all this, Hifumi was super involved in this whole thing for sure. In fact, he was behind the whole thing. In fact, he's still alive!
Yeah, I don't think so.
No. When we found him in the repository, Hifumi was truly and completely dead.
No, he
The
wasn't.
second body discovery announcement proves that.
No, he wasn't.
So then, who killed Hifumi?
That's the question.
Whoever did is the mastermind, the true killer.
He was killed in the repository. So he must have been killed not long after transporting Taka's body.
So, he must have been killed after Taka's body vanished, but
Mhm.
before we found both bodies in the repository.
During that time, we'd all split up and were searching for Taka's missing body. In other words, during that time, none of us have alibis.
Exactly.
Wait, but me and Sakura were together. Stop trying to steal the spotlight, you stupid walrus. Who are you calling a walrus?
Anyway, when they were killed bothers me too. But there's something that's been bothering me even more.
And what might that be?
The weapon they used to kill Hifumi.
The weapon?
The spotless hammer.
Yeah, because I mean, according to the Monokuma file, The way Taka and Hifumi were killed was almost the same, with them having similar fractures and all. But Justice Hammer 3 and 4 were still laying around in the nurse's office and equipment room. So if Hifumi was killed in the repository, the culprit would have had to grab one of the hammers, kill Hifumi, then put the hammer back where they found it.
Clean hammer.
But wouldn't that be seriously risky for him?
I'm surprised. It seems there's some semblance of a brain knocking around that skull of yours after all.
Hell yeah, it's packed in there good and tight.
He's right, though. I don't understand it either. The Monokuma file makes it clear that they were killed using similar instruments. But if the hammers were already laying around those other rooms...
So the question is, how could the culprit have gotten their hands on either of the hammers? Personally, I haven't a clue. So which hammer was used to attack Celeste? Number 1 or number 2?
I don't think.
Those were accounted for in other rooms too. And I don't think either one is big enough to kill someone.
Exactly.
Then,
Is it not possible they used a different weapon?
Exactly.
I don't think it is possible.
Everyone.
They were both killed with the same kind of thing, right?
So then, what was used to kill Hifumi?
The weapon that was actually used to kill Hifumi. The whole picture surrounding this case won't become clear until we figure that out. Somehow I have to find the truth. Spotless hammer.
What was used to kill Hifumi? Was it Justice Hammer 3? Maybe Justice Hammer 4?
well, whatever it was, there's one thing we have to figure out. How was the culprit able to move around so freely with the weapon? How did nobody witness them carrying it? Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its appearance!
What?
What was used to kill Hifumi? Was it Justice Hammer 3? Maybe Justice Hammer 4?
Well, whatever it was, there's one thing we
Two
have
of
to
them are
figure out.
hanging out.
How was the culprit able to move around so freely with the weapon? How did nobody witness them carrying it? Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its appearance! Check out murdergear.com/hammertime for more info!
Okay.
One thing seems pretty clear. The murder weapon had to be one of the...
No, not necessarily.
The murder weapon wasn't a justice hammer at all. No, it was something completely different.
But, seriously? A different weapon?
Yeah.
Specifically, a hammer from the repository. The killer could have easily used that to kill Hifumi. Now, all the hammers in the repository were covered in flecks of grit and debris. But for some reason, one of them had been scrubbed clean. And the reason it had been scrubbed clean was most likely because it was used to commit murder. If the hammer got covered in Hifumi's blood, of course they'd have to clean it off. I'd also like to point out that the repository has all kinds of hammers. Big ones, small ones, and even some flat mallet-like ones. I think whoever made the Justice Hammers used those as a basis for their design.
Well, there are 4
If that's
hammers
true,
missing.
That would explain the Monokuma file's note about the wounds being similar.
So Hifumi moved Taka's body to the repository, where someone then used a hammer to kill him.
Whoever did that is the true killer. The one Hifumi was working with. And the one who betrayed him. Hold on a moment. I still think it's strange to assume someone was working together with him.
Well,
The way the graduation rule works, there is no benefit to helping someone else carry out a murder. So the idea that anyone would work together like that is simply ludicrous. We talked about this, did we not?
but he was doing a lot for Celeste. We did talk about how there wouldn't be any reason for anyone to work together. At least that's what we thought at first, and Celeste is an excellent liar, which would make sense.
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, Even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible that two people work together on this.
That is how the rule was explained to us.
But that only really applies if there's one murder, right? In this case, however, there were two murders.
Based on the rules that have been
I think I have an idea.
even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible that two people work together on this.
That is how the rule was explained to us.
But that only really applies if there's one murder, right? In this case, however, there were two murders.
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true.
I got it. I thought so.
Since there were two murders, it's at least plausible that more than one person was involved.
Yeah, maybe good.
What do you mean?
If there'd only been one murder, then yes, the idea of an accomplice isn't really worth considering. Naturally, if only one person can be saved per murder, an accomplice has no risk versus reward benefit.
Risk versus reward benefit?
The payoff for working together. The reward that balances out the risk of taking part in a scheme. There's no point in being someone's accomplice if there's no benefit to you. However, if there were some potential mutual reward for the risk, then cooperation becomes possible.
You're saying that two people could act as each other's accomplices to commit two separate murders.
I think that's what the true killer told Hifumi. They would each have an accomplice for their crime. And based on the case's events, Hifumi would have been the first one to act, murdering Taka. They made him carry out the first murder so he couldn't back out of helping them later on.
Exactly.
So in this case, there wasn't one single person committing multiple murders. Instead, each person killed someone, creating two separate incidents.
Exactly.
And it only
Exactly what I
looked
said from the
like
very
one person
beginning.
Because that's how the true killer designed it to look.
Mm-hmm.
A single suspicious individual, a similar weapon used in each crime, disappearing bodies. By creating one seamless set of circumstances, they made it look like one person was behind it all.
The mastermind picked their target and managed to convince him to go along with their plan. And then, to avoid the no accomplices rule, they simply killed their accomplice. Which, if true, means that betraying Hifumi was part of the plan from the very beginning.
That's just awful! How could anyone be so cruel?
You think so? I can't help but admire its cunning. Still, their choice of accomplice seems odd.
The effort made to convince us the two murders were the same. That was the main characteristic this time. Kyoko must have noticed that fact from the very beginning, which is why she said not to look at this as a series of connected events, but entirely separate incidents. Kyoko really is amazing, although, when you think about it, she's almost too amazing. Like, it's almost unnatural how good she is at this.
I understand how an accomplice could be involved, but then who was the one pulling Hifumi's strings?
That's problem numero uno right now!
The true killer manipulated Hifumi to carry out a number of actions and in the end, murdered him. In the debates up till now, the way the case has unfolded, when you consider all that, there's only one person who seems fit. It's Celeste. What I've been saying from the very beginning, it's Celeste.
Here's my answer. It was Celeste.
Ah, so I'm the suspicious individual now, am I? I really do hate this kind of joke.
A joke? I wonder.
So what you are saying, then, is that I specifically chose to work together with Hifumi. The idea that I would choose to spend any amount of time interacting with him, that I would go within 10 feet of that shit brain fat, lazy, worthless, goddamn idiot!
She's lost her accent.
Pardonnez-moi.
Just to be clear, there is evidence to support it.
Is that so?
It is. Throughout the investigation, there was certain behavior that was common only to the two of you. Considering what we've learned so far, it only further proves that the two of you were working together.
What is it that only Hifumi and Celeste have in common? They were the only ones to encounter the suspicious individual.
The behavior they had in common has to do with the suspicious individual in the suit, doesn't it? The only ones who ever actually saw Robo-Justice firsthand were Celeste and Hifumi.
Shush. The adults are talking now.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
As he said, only Celeste and Hifumi ever laid eyes on the costumed individual. If we accept that Hifumi was one of the culprits, we can't help but suspect what Celeste has said as well.
Are you saying everything they told us was a lie?
Mm-hmm.
After taking Hifumi to the nurse's office, we all began our search for this individual, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And not too long after that, do you remember what Celeste said?
I saw a shadow, something moving around at the top of the stairs.
We headed to the second floor specifically because of what she claimed to have seen.
Thank you, Byakuya.
Next, to draw us all to the physics lab up on the third floor,
She let out a blood-curdling scream.
and when we'd all come to see what was wrong, what was it she said?
Celeste, what's wrong? That was a rather intense scream for someone like you. I saw him, the strange costume man. He ran as soon as I screamed. I was blocking the stairs, so he headed further down into the hallway and disappeared.
Once she'd done her job of getting us all up to the physics lab,
Yep.
it was time for her partner to get to work.
Yep. Huh? What was that? That came from downstairs. It must have been Hifumi. He's in the nurse's office. This is bad. Come on, we have to go back.
It was to get us to divide into two groups, so that we would discover both bodies at the same time?
I gotta say, this
In
is a
fact,
well thought out
Celeste
plan.
was precisely the one who proposed that we split up.
Exactly. Then why don't we split into two groups? I'll lead the hunting party. That seems much more interesting. Very well, then Makoto and Hina, you come with me to the nurse's office. I will leave the capture of the suspicious individual to Toko, Byakuya, and Sakura.
Well, if Celeste and Hifumi were working together, all those chance events suddenly become connected. And on top of that, that piercing cry of yours early on.
Mm-hmm. That was
to signal Hifumi, wasn't it?
I was gonna say,
It
that
was
sounded
your way of
fake.
telling him, we're on the third floor. Everything's going according to plan. Why else would you let out a scream that could have carried across the sea?
I just realized another strange thing. When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, who we now know was only pretending to be dead,
I certainly was not expecting this. I did not imagine that Hifumi would be murdered.
Celeste, you were the first one to say he'd been murdered. You wanted to make sure we wouldn't have any doubt in our minds.
I don't believe it. Everything, the whole thing was one big act.
Hina, you were with Celeste when Hifumi's body disappeared, right?
Yeah. I was feeling kinda sick, so Celeste took me to the bathroom. Wait! Then that was...
Dubai.
She wasn't worried about you. She just saw a chance to help Hifumi sneak out of the nurse's office.
Mm-hmm.
Each piece isn't much by itself, but start putting them together and the picture gets very ugly indeed. Wouldn't you agree, Celeste?
I have no idea what you mean.
Don't bother trying to deny it. You made one fatal mistake.
Oh, did I?
I didn't even catch it myself when you first said it, but Looking back, I can say that one little slip-up was your undoing.
I think I know what he's talking about because I recognized it right away.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about what you said after Hifumi's body disappeared and we returned to the nurse's office.
Yes, she hadn't discovered Taka's body. It's exactly what I said. They must be really enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around frightened and confused. We're all going to die here. We're going to die just like those guys did. Exactly. I said this. I said she never saw Taka's body, so how does she know there's multiple people dead?
I remember her saying that too, but I don't understand what's so strange about it.
Then pay attention. Sakura, Toko, and I were first to discover Taka's body in the equipment room. Then Makoto showed up and told us Hifumi had been killed. So Sakura and I left with Makoto. Once we were in the hall, we ran into Celeste, and the four of us headed to the nurse's office. Now, the entire time we were together, none of us said anything about Taka being dead.
Exactly.
Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. It was completely out of place.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Although I don't really get what it means.
You hear that, Celeste? Everyone's having some trouble understanding. Could you repeat what you said? If you're really not the culprit, you shouldn't have any problem repeating it, right?
Byakuya said that Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. But what is he alluding to? She hadn't discovered the body yet.
All I said was, they must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here.
Shoot. Listen to that one.
All I said was, they must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die.
Just like those guys died. Shoot!
All I said was, they must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died. And that is all I said.
And that's all it takes to finish this. It's obvious, isn't it? What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
All I said was, they must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die.
Got it.
No, what's wrong? That's right. There's no reason Celeste should have said, just like those guys died. When she said that, none of us had told her Taka was dead.
Exactly.
Exactly. And we didn't run into her until after we were all out in the hall. So there was never any chance for her to have seen his body in the equipment room for herself.
So how did you know, Celeste? How did you know more than one person had been killed? And how did you know they were both guys? Because Kyoko had also disappeared, right? So she could have been dead too.
You all have such vivid imaginations. You know that?
Imaginations?
You claim that I was lying when I told you about the suspicious person I saw. Then what about the picture I took? How do you explain this picture of the
It has to be some kind of setup, right? So let's put the suit on. And then she used the camera's timer to
Hifumi was carrying
set up
it.
the picture.
There is no timer.
Have you so quickly forgotten? You are the only one who could have possibly fit into that suit. Plus, I happen to know that this particular camera does not have a timer.
Exactly.
In other words, it is an unassailable fact that this is a picture of Hifumi being dragged away.
And it's the
If
opposite.
everything I told you was a lie, how can this picture exist?
Simple. Are we sure that's really a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away?
What could you possibly mean by that?
Surely there are other explanations than the one you've offered up.
No, there is no other explanation.
Other explanations? If it wasn't a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away, the only other possibility is Hifumi and the suspect were dancing, had been drinking. Hifumi is dragging the suspect away.
It's not a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away. I would say it's a picture of Hifumi dragging the suspect away.
That's certainly within the realm of possibility. The one being dragged off in that picture isn't Hifumi, but the person in the robot suit. We've simply been led to believe that it's the other way around. And the strange costume might only exist to lead us astray even farther. If you saw someone wearing something like that in this situation, of course you'd notice and be suspicious.
That's what happened! You put me to sleep and made me out to be the bad guy in all this!
Such a thing is utterly impossible. Hifumi was dragging
Give
him
it
away?
up.
Ridiculous.
Is it? I don't think it's ridiculous at all.
Then shut your mouth and allow me to educate you.
Celeste thinks she can prove that there's no way Hifumi was dragging the suspect away. But is it really possible? Argument.
You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out! Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight! You tried to make me look like the bad guy!
Like I said, ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright. If the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight like that.
Except it was made to not bend.
No. Even if the person inside the suit were unconscious, they could still stand up like that. Because that Robo-Justice suit had a certain characteristic.
You couldn't bend at the waist. You totally can't bend at the waist. Seems like a pretty obvious oversight.
That's right! They totally made a mistake when they made it, so it couldn't bend at the waist.
I'm not so sure that was a mistake. I think the suit was designed from the beginning to be used the way it was.
Celeste and
Gotcha.
Hifumi took the suit they'd specially designed and stuffed Hero into it.
I like her
That's how they
though.
were able to fake that whole thing. The point of it all was to make us believe whoever was in the suit was to blame.
Well then, I suppose this is checkmate.
Checkmate?
She's losing it.
Laugh, you idiot. What do you mean, checkmate? Celeste? Clearly, you want to cram me into your little guilty box. Well, there's one little problem.
She's lost her accent.
Already forgotten what Hifumi told us as he lay dying?
Hey Hifumi, who was it? Who attacked you? Who tried to kill you? Who killed me? That's right. I remember their name. Yeah. Yes. Here.
When we asked him who had attacked him, his answer was quite clear, was it not? He said, and I quote, Yasuhiro. In other words, Yasuhiro Hakakure!
Right! But my name isn't really Yasuhiro! It's actually Taro!
Sure.
Confusing statements don't make any sense. They're only making things more complicated.
Exactly.
He did say Yasuhiro, but are we sure he was really pointing the finger at Hiro?
What the hell are you talking about? I'll burn you alive!
Kyoko, what do you mean by that?
Think back to how Hifumi used to talk to us. How did he refer to each of us?
Serious a lot. He says people's last names a lot.
That's right, our last names. He called us all by our last names.
Exactly. I know I heard him say Mr. Naegi more than once, for example.
Exactly.
So if Hifumi did mean to
Didn't
say
they
Hiro's
all
name,
call each other
he
by
would
their
have
last
said his
names?
last name, Hagakure.
I'm sure it was just incidental. By chance, his first name. Indecent?
Don't talk.
Random chance. Now isn't that a convenient explanation? No, there's no reason to think he would have said the name any different than normal. But he must have run out of energy before he could say any more.
So Hifumi was trying to tell us the last name of whoever killed him?
But the name he said doesn't apply to anyone here.
Or does it?
Well, no. Hold on. There's one person it could apply to, and that's Celeste.
Mm-hmm.
She never actually told us what her real name is.
What did you just say? To think you take your false accusation so far, I don't know whether to laugh or spit! Come on! Enough with your idiotic blather! Yasuhiro is a loser's name! Do I look like a loser to you? Well...
She's lost her poker
do
face.
What? I think I've earned the right to be a little on edge.
Okay, then fill us in. What's your real name?
Make sure your ear holes are wide open and listen up! My real name is Celestia Ludenberg. Could you please stop making me repeat myself over and over again?
Celeste still won't give up, so then I have to do something to make her accept it. Let's go.
Hifumi was trying to tell us something. He wanted us to know the killer's last name, Yasuhiro.
If there's one person here who might have that last name.
It would have to be you, Celeste. You haven't told anyone what your real name is.
How many times do I have to tell you? My name is... Celestia Ludenberg, God!
How long do you...
E-handbook!
Hifumi
Okay.
was trying to tell us something.
Turn on your e-handbook and show me your name.
Yasuhiro.
If there's one person here who might have that last name.
It would have to be you, Celeste. You haven't told anyone what your real name is.
How many times do I have to tell you? My name is... Celestia Ludenberg, God!
How long do you plan to go on pretending?
I'm not pretending. It's the truth. And since you have no way to contradict
Bam! Kyoko is right.
That's it! The handbook!
what?
Anytime you turn your handbook on, it shows the owner's name when it boots up, right? Monokuma told us all about it before.
Mm-hmm. This handbook is absolutely vital to a healthy school life, so don't lose it. When you start it up, it will display your name. Always make sure you have the right one. Now, this is not your everyday notebook. It also has many more uses than that.
So all we have to do is check our handbook, and that'll clear up everything. That's how we can find out Celeste's real name.
That's an invasion of privacy. I refuse to cooperate.
Celeste, can you please just tell us what really happened? Please, just tell us.
Even when I'm put in check, it's just my nature not to give up. Because, until the game's over, you never know what might happen.
Fine then. Let me settle it. Let me go over the case again, from the beginning, and shed light on all your crimes. And that'll bring everything to an end.
Closing argument.
And
Sorry,
that
I
person
started it.
was
For anything, the killer persuaded someone to help carry out the murder, and that person was.
Hifumi. With an accomplice, the killer was able to execute a number of otherwise impossible schemes. First, they convinced someone to meet them in the rec room last night at 1 in the morning. That someone they met with was Hiro.
There we go.
The murderous duo intended to pass Hiro off as the prime suspect. So when they met up with him, they drugged him, knocked him out, and stuffed him into the Robo-Justice suit. Next, Hifumi positioned himself to make it look like Robo-Justice was attacking him, while the killer used a digital camera to take pictures of the assault. They did all this just to create evidence that would put the suspicion on Hiro. When they were done with him, they shoved him, still unconscious, into the pool room locker. And then finally, at 6 a.m., they moved into the murder phase of their plan. They called Taka to the equipment room. And that's where Hifumi killed him. The murder weapon was Justice Hammer 4, which was left there in the equipment room. The reason Hammer number 4 was used was to create confusion about the order of the crimes. So, next they falsified 2 more assault incidents. For these attacks, the killers pretended to be the victims, to solidify Robo-Justice as the suspect. The first fake incident was the attack in the rec room. There, the killers wanted us to see Justice Hammer 1, and the Robo-Justice pictures they'd taken. They wanted to make sure we bought the surprise attack story. The second fake incident was the attack in the library. This time, they planted Justice Hammer 2, and an injured Hifumi, to sell us that story. With these 2 incidents, the killers were able to create a certain preconception in our mind that the suspect was increasing the size of the hammers and attacking people in order as they did. We fell right into their trap and started looking for the suspect based on that. But while we did that, we left Hifumi alone in the nurse's office. This was exactly what Hifumi was hoping for. He took a blood packet from the refrigerator and Justice Hammer 3 and turned the room into a crime scene in which he himself had apparently been brutally murdered. He let out a scream to draw us back, and when we returned, that's what we found. Meanwhile, the other group that had been out searching found Taka's body at the same time. So when we heard the body discovery announcement, we naturally assumed it was for Hifumi.
This is a well thought out plan.
We left the nurse's office, and Hifumi once again took advantage of the situation. He simply got up and made his escape. When we learned his body had disappeared, we all rushed back to the nurse's office. And once again, Hifumi had the chance he was waiting for. This time, he snuck into the equipment room. He wrapped Taka's body in a tarp and used the dolly to move it all the way down to the repository. That explains how each of the bodies disappeared. But even Hifumi didn't know what the true killer had in mind for their final act.
Oh, shoot.
Here's exactly what happened. But even Hifumi, their plan all along was to kill Hifumi, and they did it using an ordinary, everyday hammer from the repository. That should cover everything that happened in this case. And the villain behind it all is... Celeste! Sorry, you lose.
It is a well thought out plan, though.
I lost? I lost? When was the last time I was forced to utter such words? They hang heavy around my neck.
Then you admit it? You're the killer?
Listen to you, trying to take charge, as if you're my private instructor. I, Celestia Ludenberg. Actually, no. Taiko Yasuhiro is fine.
Taiko?
So, you finally accepted it.
I'm the kind of person, once I've lost, I don't like things to drag on.
Isn't that the name of the female senpai from Yandere Simulator?
Interesting.
And then what I find funny is if that is the female version of the senpai from Yandere Simulator, Hiro tried to lie and say his name was Taro, which is the male name of the senpai from Yandere Simulator.
Okay, Monokuma. I'm ready to begin.
Yeah,
Or,
he did have a
no.
fake accent.
I suppose this is the end, isn't it?
It is indeed the moment we've all been waiting for. Time to vote, okay? Okay. If you would, please locate your lever and cast your vote. And when the votes are tallied, who will become the blackened? Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
That dragged on too long. These trials sometimes just drag on. This is such a well thought out plan, though. It's basically a formality at this point, but once again, you're totally correct. The Blackened this time, the true killer who devised the whole stinking scheme was Celestia Ludenberg, or more precisely, Taiko Yasuhiro.
Honestly.
I lost. Well, that sucks. Guess trying to work with someone else was a mistake after all. Hifumi's ineptitude was beyond all my calculations.
I knew it.
So you really did approach Hifumi with this plan? But how did you get him to agree? I can't imagine he would have happily agreed to commit murder. I'm sure she relied on her specialty, lying. My specialty? Don't make me laugh. I didn't have to lie to get him to agree.
So then...
Then did you use... you know... I knew you'd figure it out, Kyoko. You're absolutely right. To get Hifumi to act as my accomplice, I used her. For everyone who's still left, I'll avoid mentioning it by name, but it was the one thing Hifumi and Taka were both super into. Does she mean... oh, is she talking about alter ego? She's saying that Taka stole alter ego, huh?
Say what?
What? What are you talking about?
Just a second.
Don't interrupt. We're in the middle of a very important conversation. I'm totally out of the loop. I'm out of space, so I'm gonna try and get this done quick.
Indeed.
I see.
And you used it to drag Hifumi into the plan you'd come up with. Right again. Last night, after we had our meeting about how it disappeared, I paid Hifumi a little visit. Oh, what are you doing here?
Actually,
I was hoping I could talk to you alone. It is about what was stolen. I know who did it.
What?
What?
are you okay with
It
this?
was Saka. He stole it. What?
So
And I
then,
approve. Would you like to see it? As it turned out, I'd found a use for the digital camera. I'd taken you-know-what to Taka's room earlier and took pictures of it there. I deleted the picture as soon as I'd shown it to Hifumi, of course.
Damnation!
So it was him. But how did he do it? She was supposed to yell if either of us got close to her. You were correct, which is why Taka forced me to steal it.
Say
What?
as for me,
Please forgive me. He threatened me.
Oh.
He did.
as for
He
me,
came to my room last night and announced, and then it's hard for me to even say. He abused me.
What?
What? And he took pictures. He said if I did not do as he asked, he would show them to everyone. So I had no choice. Oh, I see what she's... That's a crime. An absolute crime. I knew he'd gone a little crazy, but I never imagined he would go that far. It is amazing how completely he bought it. I can't express how enjoyable that was. I'm about to say something I've never said before in my life. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to effing kill him.
most unfortunate.
Wait, please. If you go now, you will be playing right into his hands. Huh?
Actually,
Taka is planning to use her to escape. And he has made you his target.
What?
Escape. You don't lead. Taka is going to try to kill you. What?
indeed.
And only he can keep her to himself.
This
But
is
I
unfortunate.
can't say any of that.
Honestly,
Can we allow him to continue with these barbaric acts? Absolutely not. How could I?
I swear!
I have to save her.
Save her!
actually,
Then, would you like to join me? It just so happens I have come up with a plan. What? I have devised a way to reclaim what he has stolen and escape this dreadful school. And with that, it is complete. Huh? What are you talking about? Oh, nothing. Hifumi agreed with a second thought. The effect that item had on him was remarkable. The power of love, even a love as twisted as that, can still drive people mad, it would seem. You disgust me.
I see.
I have another question for you. Was that strange costume Hifumi's creation?
indeed.
Yeah. It is a pain in the butt, too. All I asked him to do was make something to hide the face and general body size. I had no idea he'd need something like that. But it's my fault for picking him in the first place.
But
So why'd you decide to make me the suspect? Because you're stupid. That's it.
Let's see.
And in that regard, I made the right choice. I'm so glad your stupidity surpassed my every expectation. Life must have been tough on your parents, though. I feel like I could cry.
Well,
But when you were explaining your plan to Hifumi, how did you explain the part of him playing dead? What she's asking is, what was Hifumi supposed to do after that, assuming you had actually let him live?
Are you okay with
That's
this?
simple. After he did his part and pretended to be dead once someone showed up, I told him to say he'd been seriously wounded. He was on the verge of death, but he just barely held on. And he really believed that? Well, of course. That was all there was to it. As I explained it to Hifumi, the plan was, while you were all questioning him about what had happened to him, I was going to murder someone else. At that point, Hifumi would have had an alibi, so nobody could doubt him. I told him that, and he believed it. It all seems very straightforward, stereotypical. I just matched the lie to the level of the opponent. In fact, Hifumi ate it up. He believed the lie wholeheartedly right up until the moment of his death.
so in
So
the
you
end,
had planned to kill him all along. But of course, there would have been no point in my plan if the other who pretended to be dead did not end up dead himself.
What the heck?
How can human life mean so little to you?
Well,
That is a non-issue. I simply did everything in my power to win.
Don't be mean.
Now you sound like Byakuya.
I wonder
No,
about
he
that.
derives his pleasure from the thrill of a hunt. In that aspect, we are nothing alike.
Why?
Then, what made you take things this far?
What the heck?
Was it really just for money?
Hmm.
Are you talking about the $10 million Monokuma offered us? That is a lot of money, it is true. But that's not all there is to it. From the moment of our new life here began, my only thought has been escape.
But
All along you've been saying how we have to accept our lives here. Obviously that was a lie. Yeah,
Hey!
I couldn't take it. I hated it from day one. More than anyone else in here. I wanted to get out. Every day was fresh torture. And do you want to know why? Huh?
This is fine.
Because I had a dream. And accepting all life here would have meant nothing less than giving up on my dream forever.
Honestly.
And there was no way that I could ever do that. In the underground world of gambling, I risked my life to make a metaphorical killing.
As for me,
And it was all for that dream. And what was this dream of yours?
isn't it wonderful?
To live in a European castle. A castle? Yes. And to gather handsome men from all around the world to serve as my butlers / bodyguards. I was going to make them dress up like vampires and satisfy my every need. Once I obtained that, I would have created the perfect aesthetic world of decadence.
This is fine.
Living the rest of my life there was my only dream, my only goal. That's what life is all about. Combined with my own winnings, Monokuma's $10 million would have made that dream a reality. I got right to the edge, but
There is nothing
unfortunately
to be done.
my dream has been scattered to the wind. Still, I don't have any regrets. I pursue my dream to the very end, so why would I?
Just the worst.
You sound so passionate, but you were really able to kill your own friends for it?
Oh,
Are you asking me to feel guilty? It's a pointless endeavor. I think nothing of sacrificing others for my own ends. I feel nothing.
do you understand?
That's all there is to me. That's what makes me complete. Isn't it terrifying how different our values are? There's simply no room for us for understanding.
This.
That's what we should be saying. And plus, how can you be so calm? Don't you realize you're about to die? Why aren't you scared? My ability to lie is unrivaled, and I take pride in that. It's not just to other people. I can even fool my own emotions. The conscious deceives the unconscious. And that's why you're not scared?
Yes.
That's right.
indeed.
I don't fear death. Kill me however you like. But, if I could be reincarnated, if I had a choice, then
Isn't it
I
wonderful?
think I would come back as Marie Antoinette. Marie Antoinette.
hey,
You just got executed again. You just get executed again. Celeste smiled then, and when she did, it looked to me like a poor effort to force it. She claimed she could fool her own feelings, but that statement itself must have been her final lie. And that weak, fake smile is what betrayed her. You all done? Okay, then let's get rolling. The black and disturb the peace and must pay the price. Now then,
Prepared a very special punishment.
for her, the ultimate gambler.
Give it everything we've got. It's punishment time.
I guess I'll let Kyoko hold on to this. What?
This is
Will it really give you the hope you're looking for? I can't say I ever saw it that way. Which is why... Actually, it's not important. Well then, take care, everyone. Perhaps we'll meet again, in another life.
Celeste has been found guilty. Time for the punishment. And it's a castle. A whole bunch of Monokumas watching. The burning of the Versailles witch. Oh, they're gonna burn her at the stake? That's such a bad way to go. No, that's such a bad way to go. It's such a bad way to go out. She would have always wanted to go out like that, though. Yes. Oh. They're gonna ruin that dream, too? Yikes. 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 Yikers. Yikers. It's over. The third execution is over. Celeste's death is over. Celeste killed my friend, so I can't pity her, but I also can't deny that at one point I considered her as a friend too. And for him to just come along and... Isn't it just awful? Someone couldn't cut free of their regrets from the outside world, and so more people had to die. You guys are still young. You need to place more value on your lives. Jeez, and here I thought you guys were gonna pass the torch of hope to the next generation. What do I care about hope? I'll throw it in the trash if you just let me out of here. You're all the embodiment of hope, whether you like it or not. And it's my destiny to knock you down one by one. It's sad, yes it is, but that reality just can't be avoided. Don't talk like you're not responsible. How long are you gonna make us keep going through this? What do you want from us? God, I'm so sick of people asking me that. Give it a rest already. So anyway, Kyoko, did you see you get some kind of key type object from Celeste? So, what's the deal with that? Huh? What's the matter? I'll answer your question if you answer mine. What did you do? What did you do to me?
Hey,
What? Answer me. What did you do to my body?
How exciting!
Wow, oh man, oh jeez. Oh man, oh jeez. What do you mean, what did I do? I have no idea. I don't know anything about it. What was that just now? The mastermind did something to Kyoko's body? What does that mean? Okay, things are getting kind of awkward. I think it's about time I get out of here. Meanwhile, you guys can go on enjoying your school life. If you get lonely, give me a shout. Not that I'll do anything about it, of course. See ya. Monokuma disappeared, leaving us all depressed and in despair. Although it wasn't all despair, there was one small hope. Hey Kyoko, Monokuma already mentioned it, but what's that key that Celeste gave you? Most likely, it's the key to one of the dressing room lockers. What? Then that means Celeste probably hid it in there. I suppose sometimes it's easiest to miss what's right beneath your nose. Well then, we'd better go check. Good idea. We left the courtroom and rushed to the dressing room. As we approached the dressing room, Kyoko looked back at us and said, I'm going to go on alone from here. Everyone else head to the dining hall. I'll check in with you later. Why exactly are you going alone? Do you even have to ask? As she spoke, she glanced quickly at the surveillance camera. That's not what I mean. Why you? There's still the risk of a spy, you know.
What?
Then I'll go too. You? Please, let me go. Standing here arguing is just... Do whatever you want. Thank you, Byakuya.
Well
Then it's up to you now.
Yo!
I'm gonna go to the dining hall, okay? Huh? So Makoto and Kyoko are gonna go together? Does that mean what I think it means?
Okay.
Good luck, Makoto. Girls are, like her, total pushovers when you show a little backbone. I tried to forget what Hina said. Everyone headed to the dining hall, leaving me and Kyoko there alone.
Shall we go?
Well, shall we? Yeah,
So
we
then,
need to get into that locker. Kyoko took the key Celeste had given her and unlocked the locker. And as the locker swung open, we saw... Good morning! It's been a while, hasn't it? It's safe, thank goodness. I've never heard Kyoko sound so relieved. It was like she was speaking from the bottom of her heart. I did just what Celeste asked. I didn't say a word. I stayed quiet the entire time. Oh, and I think I might be able to open the last set of files soon. Maybe as early as tomorrow. I'm doing my best, so please wait just a while longer. So now we can officially say the case is closed. As far as this incident is concerned, sure, but can we take a second? Since we had this opportunity, I want you to be honest with me. Kyoko, please tell me, what are you trying to do all on your own here at the school? Is that why you wanted to come here with me?
however,
Regardless, that's not something you need to know right now. I don't need to know. That just makes me even more worried.
what?
Worried? Like what happened during the investigation this time. You disappeared and we didn't see you again. Without warning, without explanation. When you do that,
Indeed.
it's only natural that they think I'm the mastermind spy, right? And you too? No! I believe in you.
What?
You believe in me. Isn't it obvious? People believe in their friends, right? That's why I want to tell you to tell me. And I want you to believe in me too. Because we're friends. I understand.
It's true.
Then maybe I can believe in you. Just a little bit more. Then,
That's
fine, I'll tell you. I'll tell you why I've been disappearing and where I've been going. You see, what I heard from Kyoko then was, well, frankly, it kind of blew my mind. Right after I told Kyoko I believe in her, she told me a story that was, well, almost unbelievable. I decided I had to confirm what she told me with my own two eyes, so I waited for nighttime to come. And when it did, I went into action.
correct.
God. The boys' bathroom on the second floor doesn't have a surveillance camera or a monitor on it. And in the storage closet there, way in the back, she said it was way in the back of the boys' bathroom storage closet, but could Kyoko really be right about this? Okay, I'm gonna end the video here and get onto that next time because this video has gone on way too long. So, if you kitties did like this video, be sure to... Alright, I'm gonna end the video here, my kitties. So, if you did like this video, be sure to leave a like before you go and leave a comment with your thoughts on the video or any games you would like to see me play in the future. Consider subscribing if you are new to the channel. I will upload very frequently, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single video. If you would like any more update, follow me on my Twitter page at Thegroszkitty right here on the screen. And I will see you all later. Bye! Peace off.